Yo, what up? I'm about to turn 30. I am in Sao Paulo, Brazil, traveling as a digital nomad. Just finished Carnival in Rio de Janeiro, and I'm about to celebrate my 30th birthday in the Amazon jungle. This feels like a big transition moment for me, so I wanted to capture 30 lessons that I've learned in my 30 years of life, focused on business, relationships, and personal discipline. Let's get right into it. Starting with 10 business lessons. First, it's not about how hard you row, it's about what boat you're on. This is something that I learned from Charlie Munger. And what I've learned is that I've worked really, really hard in multiple jobs, multiple relationships, multiple facets of my life. And I've also not worked as hard in different relationships, different jobs, different environments, and I've made much more progress. This tells me, and this is confirmed by Charlie Munger, that it's not about what boat you're on. It's not about how hard you row. It's about what boat you're on. So pay attention to the friction in your life and the results that you're getting for the amount of input that you are putting into those things. That was a very important lesson to me. And once I figured this out, I started moving away from things that got me a little bit of ROI and towards things that got me a high amount of return on my investment. Number two is a quote from Archimedes: give me a lever long enough and a place to stand, and I can move the world. This lesson is about leverage. I really enjoy it as defined by Naval Ravikant. The four C's of leverage: content, creating media, just like this. I record this once and a million people can see this for as long as the internet exists. Number two is capital. Using money, you can use this as leverage. You can use money to pay people to get things done. You can use capital to be generous, to accomplish things. Next is collaboration. If you can get people to help you, to do things with you, then this is more leverage. And finally, code. Especially now in the age of artificial intelligence, if you can learn to use code to your advantage, then you can get much more accomplished with the same amount of effort. Leverage as a lever is defined is when you put a little bit of work in and a ton comes out of the other end. Give me a lever long enough and a place to stand, and I can move the world. Number three, build self-operating systems. When you build systems that work with or without you, it no longer depends on your willpower or your discipline to get things done. An example for me is my financial system. Once I automated my savings, my investments, and my guilt-free saving money, then I don't have to do anything. I automatically invest in Bitcoin. I automatically invest in the S&P 500. I automatically save money passively. I don't have to do anything because I used the code leverage and I multiplied it with my capital leverage. And then I made a system around it. Now I don't have to do a thing. I invest and I save without thinking about it. Number four, positioning creates power. Life is a lot about framing. There can be two different people that have the exact skill sets, the exact experience, but one person's going to get your job and the other one's not going to get the job. One person's going to get the girlfriend, one person's not going to get the girlfriend, and on and on. And this is because of framing and positioning. You got to learn how to position yourself as the solution to the problem at hand. In fact, you can get so good at positioning and framing that you could have less experience, you can have less experience and still get the job, still get the relationship, still get the friend group, still get the position because of correct framing. So learn to use framing to your advantage. This is also a psychological term a psychological bias that humans can't help. It's hardwired into us, so learn to use it to your advantage. Next is a lesson that I learned from Timothy Ferriss in the 4-Hour Workweek, one of my favorite books that got me started on my journey as a digital nomad. And this is eliminate, automate, delegate. When it comes to getting things done or your life, it's best to eliminate the things that you do not need, that are unnecessary, that are creating drag, that are holding you back. Once you've eliminated those things, then you can start to delegate. For example, I delegate my video editing. It's something that takes me a ton of time. So instead, I delegate it to professionals at their craft, and they get it done much faster than I could with a higher output result than I could. After I've eliminated, I delegate, and finally, I automate. If there's anything that I can automate, if I can use AI or code or software or technology to automate anything, then this is a great idea because it takes friction off of you, it takes a load off of your work, and you can get much more accomplished because you've eliminated what doesn't matter, you've delegated what can't be automated, and you've automated the remaining things. Now you have more leverage, more time, and you can live a better life by doing these things. Eliminate, automate, delegate. Next is something else that I learned from Charlie Munger: inversion. Charlie Munger teaches you to invert. It's much easier to figure out what you don't want because the human mind is psychologically wired to stay away from fear, from danger, from things that you do not want. It's a survival mechanism that's been hardwired into us after thousands of years of evolution. So instead of trying to figure out what it is that you want or how it is that you accomplish something, invert that. Ask yourself, if I wanted to ruin this, if I wanted to fail, if I wanted to break the system, then how would I break the system? How would I fail? What are the things that would cause me not to accomplish this goal? And immediately your mind's going to start thinking about all of the possible ways that you can fail, that you can personally not accomplish those goals. Then once you've inverted and named those things, then you can start to systematically cap your downside so that those things do not happen. You do not suffer a loss. And then you can invert those things yet again, take those negatives and turn them into its opposite. And it's very likely that by doing the opposite of the things that will hurt you or make you fail, that you will automatically win because of that. Inversion by Charlie Munger. Next is own assets, not income. I've realized that the point of money is to buy your freedom. And how do you buy your freedom? You own assets that earn while you sleep. Financial independence is the goal of earning income, earning capital, having money. Once you can make enough money and once you can have enough money invested that you can live solely off of the interest or the dividends, then you are financially free. The goal of earning money is not to spend it, it's not to buy nice things, it's not to necessarily enjoy yourself in this very moment. You have to instill discipline, build that nest egg, and make it big enough so that you could live off of the income. Once you can live off of the income of your interest and your dividends, then you're financially free. The point of money is to buy your freedom, and you do this by owning assets that earn while you sleep. Number 8, your environment is leverage. It's much easier to change your environment than it is to change the people that you are around. When I am with my family, when I was living at home, I always tried to help them and to change them and to put a lot of effort into changing the things that weren't necessarily good for them or good for me. And what I've realized is that if I'm here and they're here, instead of bringing them up, they tend to drag me down. And I tried hard a lot, and it just wasn't working. Then I realized that it's much easier to change my environment, to go to a new place. Currently, I'm in Sao Paulo, Brazil, than it is to change the people that you are surrounded by. Your environment is the biggest form of leverage that you can have. It's been the number one strategy for humans for thousands of years. Traveling, going to new environments, finding new mates, finding a new social group, eating new foods, finding new cultures. Traveling and changing your environment has been the number one strategy for humans for a good reason, because it works. So stop trying to change the people around you. Instead, change your environment. It's something that you have control over. You don't need anyone's permission to do it. Whereas trying to change the people around you also depends on them. And if they don't want to change, then no matter how hard you try, you cannot change them. Next is number 9. Compound interest applies to everything. I used to think that compound interest only applied to my finances. We've heard that compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. What I've recently realized is that compound interest applies to everything in your life, your skill sets, your career, your relationships, your happiness, your meditation, your health. Learn to leverage compound interest in every facet of your life, including finances. It's extremely important in finances, but it shouldn't stop there. You can leverage that in every area of your life. Once I've figured this out, I've started to grow exponentially. And because I've set systems and processes around it, it's much less effortful for me. So I'm growing more, I'm doing less, and I'm enjoying myself more. Took me a long time to learn this, but I'm glad that I finally did. I hope that you can take this lesson with you. And finally, my last, number 10 for business lessons. Identity drives everything. I've talked about systems over willpower, automations. The one driving force behind all of this is your identity. This is the biggest lever that you have. It's the highest leverage. When you decide who you want to be and you paint a clear picture of that, it's easy to move in that direction. When you don't know who you are, then you move sporadically and your energy gets dispersed and nothing gets accomplished because you're moving in every direction at once. But when you're able to decide who is it that I want to be, you no longer are burdened with a million tiny decisions of whether I want to go this way or do this or do that. Instead, you have a clear filter. Would the person that I want to become make this decision or make this other decision? If you want to be known as an athletic person, that's your identity, then you don't have to decide, oh, do I want to eat this fast food or do I want to eat healthy? Do I want to wake up early or do I want to stay up late? Do I want to drink beer or water? All of those decisions are automatically made for you based on this filter of what your ideal identity is. So take the time to define who it is that you want to be. And from that one decision, a million other decisions will be made for you. And when you're not burning brain power making all these tiny decisions, then you have more energy for the big decisions in life, including your identity. Now, moving on to our relationship category. These are 10 lessons that I've learned about relationships in my 30 years of living, and I hope that they can help you as well. Number 1, I learned from Lao Tzu in the Tao Te Ching. He says something along the lines of stop forcing what should flow. He calls it Wu Wei, the art of effortless accomplishment. In my relationships, I've chased a ton. There's been a lot of friction behind it. I've spent a lot of energy behind that. But when I've started letting the people that are attracted to me come towards me and letting the people who are not attracted to me move away from me, my life has been better. The people who are attracted to me like me for who I am. And the people who don't like me for who I am shouldn't be in my life because this is who I am. I'm open to change, but only when it's more authentic to myself. I'm not willing to change because somebody else doesn't like me or wants me to be something that I'm not. My goal is to be aligned with my inner self. And the more aligned I am with myself, the more the right people come into your life because they see your true authentic self. And these types of people are much more better to have around you than people who like you for something you're not, because then you're acting, then you're constantly wasting effort on being something that is draining to you. And you're getting rewarded for that. It's a vicious cycle that you don't want to be a part of. So stop forcing what should flow, be yourself, and let those that are attracted to you come towards you. Lesson number 2, very similar. Gravitate towards those who gravitate towards you. This is a lesson that I learned in business. When trying to start businesses, I've tried to convince business partners to start a business or take on this role or take on these responsibilities. But I've also had people that enjoy my ideas and want to support me and offer their help without me even having to ask or beg. So it's the same business lesson, but transformed into a relationship context. So gravitate towards the people that gravitate towards you. Number 3, value your own opinion more than you do anybody else's. You're the only one that has 100% context on who you are, what you've been through, and where you want to go. If you give credence and power to people outside of your own opinion, they don't have all the context, they don't have your best interest at heart all of the time because they don't know what is best for you. Only you know what's best for you. So place your opinion above anybody else's. Again, this comes with being aligned, being centered, and learning to be your true authentic self. This is an extremely important lesson that I've learned. And although it may not be easy in the short term, in the long term, it's the greatest thing you can do for yourself. Number 4, work on yourself first. Everything comes from within. What I've learned in my short 30 years is that the world is created from the inside out. I'm a true believer in being the center of my universe and that my vibrations reverberate to the universe around me and create my environment. When I am internally stressed or rushed or unclear of what I want to do, then the world around me reflects it. But when I take the time to work on myself, I'm calm, I'm grounded, I'm clear in what direction I want to move, then the world also reflects that around me. I tend to run into opportunities. Things flow for me. The universe hands me the things that I'm looking for because I know what they are and because I'm vibrating, I'm resonating in the correct frequency. Everything comes from the inside and works its way outwards. So work on yourself first. Figure out your health, figure out your career, figure out your money, figure out your mental well-being, your spiritual well-being. And then it's much easier to gain the external when your internal is aligned. When you become attractive, then you attract the things that you want. Number 5, I've said this before, I'll say it again. I said it in business, I'll say it in relationships. Change your environment before trying to change the people around you. Geography is a big part of this. One of the things that I've learned is geoarbitrage. I'm getting paid in US dollars, but I'm in Brazil spending reales, their currency. I have a higher quality of life for cheaper. I've traveled before and saved more money than I have being in my hometown of Los Angeles. There's so much you can do with environment, and different places have different benefits. If you want a good social life, go to Brazil or Mexico. If you want better business, then you should be in the United States and build businesses, find business partners. If you like romance, then there's different parts of the world that you can go to depending on what it is that you're attracted to. No matter what it is that you want, there's a place for you. These are called self-selected groups, SSGs. People tend to self-select into the things that they want. Big cities attract extroverted people, and small towns tend to attract high serotonin, relationship building, stable people. What is it that you want? If you go to New York, then you'll see the hustle and bustle because the hustle and bustle people like that. So they chose to self-select there. But if you want something calmer, something more community oriented, then a medium to smaller town might be the one for you. So decide what you want, figure out where that exists in the world, and instead of trying to change the people around you, put yourself in that position. In economics, this is called a thick market, as opposed to a thin market. Find where the thick markets are for your needs, your wants, your likes, and place yourself in that situation. Number 6, surround yourself with the people that you want to become like. Once you've identified who your ideal self is, then you can figure out where that type of person is hanging out. If you want to be a strong, athletic, CrossFitter, then go to a CrossFit gym. You're going to find all of the people that are like the people that you want to be like right there with you. And the beautiful thing about surrounding yourself with groups is that you inherit their standards because they punish you for not living up to their standards and they reward you for living up to those standards. So if you want to become a new type of person, then hang around that type of person. You've heard that if you hang around 5 millionaires, then you will become the sixth. Show me your friends and I will show you your future. This is extremely true. So pick your friends carefully and decide who you want to spend your time around. Because the more time you spend with them, the more you will become like them. So figure out who you want to be, where those people are, and then surround yourself with those people. It's much easier to form a new identity, which is the cornerstone of your life, if you find the people that are already embodying that identity and place yourself in that social group. Number 7, in relationships. Money matters in relationships. If you cannot sustain, if you don't have enough income, if you don't have enough money, then you can't be healthy. You can't be generous. You can't sustain a relationship. Money is leverage. Money allows you to do so many things. And if you don't have enough money, then it's hard to be in a relationship, in a romantic relationship. It's hard to keep up with your social group, your friends. It's hard to be healthy, focus on your health. And this affects your spirituality, your mental well-being, and it cascades to every aspect of your life. I've been broke. I've been pre-rich, is what I like to call myself. And I promised myself that I would never go broke again. I was born that way, but I do not have to die that way. Money is extremely important in every facet of your life, including relationships. If you don't have your finances figured out, it's extremely hard to find a mate and keep a mate. So, money matters. Figure that out. Number 8, emotional regulation is leadership. I mentioned that everything comes from the inside outwards. If you cannot regulate yourself, your own emotions, then you can't regulate those around you. You can't support those around you. Your vibrations are contagious. If I'm upset, if I'm pissed, if I'm not healthy, everyone around me is going to feel it. And they're going to react to that. They're going to feel my stress and become stressed. They're going to feel that I'm rushed and be rushed. They're going to feel that I'm not okay, and they're going to empathize with me and not be okay. Everything starts from the inside out. So it's extremely important to learn how to regulate your emotions, especially for men. I honestly do believe that one of the responsibilities of a man is to provide masculine containment. I like to use the analogy of men being a clam and women being the beautiful pearl that's inside the clam. Men being a picture frame and women being the beautiful art that's inside of that picture frame. If you cannot contain yourself, you cannot provide containment for other people in your life, including your romantic relationships. I believe it is my duty as a man to regulate my internal emotions so that I can help regulate those around me, not only in my romantic relationships, but my familial relationships, my business relationships, my social relationships. People come to me because I am calm, steady, sturdy. When there's a storm, I am the mountain that can take the beating, take the punishment. When there is chaos, I am the person who stands strong. It's important to learn how to regulate your emotions, not only for yourself, but everyone around you. Number 9, polarity requires stability. I'm a big fan of polarity in relationships. I like being a masculine man, strong, sturdy, dangerous. And I like having a feminine woman. I like her being soft and lovable, nurturing, kind. I think polarity in relationships is healthy. And if you want, like I want, a beautiful, feminine, nurturing woman, then you have to learn how to be a strong, masculine, dangerous man. Opposites attract. This isn't only romantic relationships, but it's the same thing in business. I'm really good at sales and marketing, but I'm horrible at a ton of other things. So people come to me for sales, marketing, and business advice, and they tend to have other skill sets. They tend to be better at the accounting and the math and the operations. Polarity is healthy in relationships and opposites attract. So go hard. Figure out who you want to be, double down on it unapologetically. It will attract the opposite of who you are, and it would be beneficial because then you are a well-rounded team instead of a one-sided organization or a one-sided relationship. Polarity requires stability. And finally, for my relationship category, number 10, learn to love without an attachment to outcomes. I've promised myself that I'm going to show up as a good man, regardless of the outcome. I want to be a good person. I want to be a good man. And I will do that even if I'm mistreated, even if I'm not getting the same treatment. I believe in karma. If this one person doesn't treat me with respect or reciprocity or kind candor, then I'm still putting it out into the universe and somebody else will. Even if it doesn't, I am practicing the person that I want to become. I am being aligned with my ideal self. And that alone is enough for me to learn to love without having reciprocity, without an attachment to the outcome. The work works on you more than you work on it. There is no work that does not profit a man. Everything you do is for yourself more than it is for the outcome. So learn to love without attachment to outcome. Now, moving on to my final 10 lessons, and these are about personal discipline. Number 1, self-mastery is the master key to everything that you could want. If you can master yourself, you can master the universe around you. As I mentioned, everything comes from within. If you learn to regulate your emotions, your finance, your health, your spirituality, your mental well-being, then this unlocks everything around you. So learn how to do what must be done, even when you do not feel like it. Self-mastery is my number 1 goal in life. Everything I do is towards self-mastery. And once I figure that out, everything else will fall like a domino. Jordan Peterson says, before you try to change the world or fix the world, first learn to organize your room, clean your room, organize your thoughts, fix yourself before you try to fix the world. Self-mastery makes you unstoppable. Number 2, systems are greater than goals. Winners and losers have the same goals, but they do not have the same outcomes. Why? Losers are reliant on willpower. Winners are reliant on systems. They do what must be done even though they do not feel like it, because their environment, their systems are conducive to achieving that goal. So learn to build systems for your health, your finances, your relationships, your social life, your spirituality. Learn to create patterns and routines and rituals and systemize everything that you want. Once I stopped setting goals and started creating systems instead, everything changed for me. The beautiful thing about systems is that they will run whether you feel like it or not. So learn to create systems that work with or without you, whether you feel like it or not, on autopilot. Number 3, identity is more powerful than systems. Your identity drives your habits, and your habits drive your outcomes. I've talked about creating systems, and your identity is the greatest system that you can create. By making this one decision, it eliminates a million other decisions. So spend time on journaling who your ideal version of yourself is. And then you can reverse engineer that into the present day and figure out what are the tiny steps that you have to get to move in that direction. Although I said that self-mastery is my number one goal in life, I do not ever believe that I will achieve that goal, and that is the point. It is an infinite game. An infinite game is something you can play forever. A finite game is something that has a clear end. The best things in life are infinite games, relationships. You do not win a relationship. The goal is to stay in a relationship forever. Business. You do not win a business. The goal is to be in business forever. Self-mastery, I will never achieve, but I will always be getting better as a human, as a person, as a lover, as a brother, as a son, as a father. Play infinite games. Number 4, standards are contagious. Surround yourself with people that you want to be like, and you will become just like them. Your environment reinforces your behavior, your ambition, your goals, your emotional stability, so choose these things carefully. Number 5, health is the foundation for everything. The healthy person has 1,000 wishes. The sick person only has one. If you do not have your health, you cannot sustain a career. You cannot sustain a relationship. You cannot sustain your spirituality. Everything comes from your health. You only have one body for the rest of your life, so treat it as such. It is your one and only vessel. Treat it as a sacred temple because it is. Number 6, in personal discipline, sleep is a superpower. I used to pride myself on not getting enough sleep or seeing how little sleep I could run on. I'll sleep when I'm dead, I used to tell myself. But then I realized that sleep is a superpower. When I get enough sleep, I am emotionally regulated. I can make better decisions. My brain is sharper. I can think more strategically. I don't crave junk food. I can work out harder. Sleep is a superpower. It does so much for you. Do you want to make more money? Do you want to have better sex? Do you want to have better relationships? Do you want to run faster? Do you want to eat healthier? Do you want to have a better career? Do you want to work harder? Have better outcomes? Sleep is the answer to all of this. Learn to optimize your sleep and treat it as a superpower, because it is. Sleep is not optional. It's fuel for optimal performance. Number 7, compound interest applies to everything. I've said it again, I've said it before. I'll say it again. It applies to everything. Your health, your money, your relationships, your skills, your career. Learn to leverage it. Learn to create systems around it. Learn to automate it. Learn to delegate it. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. Compound interest can work against you as much as it can towards you. If you're in credit card debt, you're paying 18% negative interest compounding against you. This will dig you a hole that is impossible to get out of. So cap your downside. Bad decisions multiply as they are taken, and opportunities also multiply as they are taken. This is compound interest in effect. So learn to use it. Number 8, know thyself. Sun Tzu says, if you know yourself and you know the enemy, then you will win 1,000 out of 1,000 wars. But if you don't know yourself, even if you know the enemy, you will lose every single time. It's important to know yourself, know what motivates you, know what identity you want to have, know what goals you want to set. I really like how Ty Lopez defines the M's of motivation. The first is mastery status. This is my number one motivator. I want to become really, really good at something. For me, it's self-mastery. And I've chosen sub-goals underneath that. That's what motivates me. I want to be the fucking best in the world at whatever I choose to pursue. Next is money. Some people love money, and that's okay. I love money. If that motivates you, then figure out how to use that to your advantage. Next is mating. Mating and love, romantic relationships. This is my second strongest motivator. I love having a partner, being good to somebody, growing so that I can sustain a relationship, grow a relationship. Love is a powerful motivator for me, and it always has been. So I use this to my advantage as much as I can. There's one more M as well. I'll leave that to you to do some research. Can't remember it right now. But double down on what works for you. Self-awareness is leverage, the ultimate leverage that you can have. Figure out what motivates you, what makes you tick, and double down on that. Number 9, For the men watching this video, I cannot speak for women, as I do not have that experience, but for the men, define your philosophy of manhood. If you don't define who you are, the world will. You cannot set a GPS without knowing where you're going. It's important to figure out what type of man you want to be, define it, and then work backwards to become that type of man. I've mentioned leadership, masculine containment, emotional regulation. These are all parts of my philosophy of being a man, something that I continue to do research on, to study, to embody, to look for idols for being a man, the type of man that I would like to be, and then learning from them. I think it's a beautiful thing to be a man, and there's no such thing as masculine, as toxic masculinity. Masculinity just is. Masculinity, the definition of masculinity are traits of a man. That is not good, this is not bad, it's not toxic, it's not positive. Masculinity just is. Figure out who you want to be as a man and be a good man. Figure out what it's going to take to be a good man and be a good man. Do not waste any more time trying to decide what it takes to be a good man. Just be a good man. It's very important to define your philosophy in many areas of life, but what motivates me is being a good man. So define your philosophy of manhood, live by it, and abide by it. And finally, number 10, study human psychology. Everything you will ever want in life is going to come from another human. Humans have been hardwired by thousands of years of evolution to have the same biology, the same neurocircuitry, the same human biases. So if you can learn human psychology, then you can create win-win situations, you can get what you want, you can motivate others, and you can learn to motivate yourself as well. I am no different than you and I. We have the same biology, the same hardwiring, the same biases, the same circuitry. Learn what motivates people, what creates trust, what creates attraction, what creates cooperation. When you understand human psychology, then you can help others achieve their goals, achieve your goals. Human nature has not changed in thousands of years. Learn what the patterns are and use them wisely. These are the lessons that I've learned in my short 30 years of living. The most important lessons that I've learned. I journal every single day. I do weekly reviews. I do yearly goal setting, yearly reviews. This is my life book. It is who I wish to become. I have 12 different sections in it, over 100 pages. I've defined what I want in my health, my intellectual life, my love life, my spiritual life, my quality of life, my social life, my financial life, my career. And in great detail, I've decided everything that I want in every section of my life. These are some of the lessons that have come from my life book and from my 30 years of living. I hope that you could use these for yourself and build a better life. So learn to master yourself, learn to build systems, choose your environments wisely, think long term. This is how you build freedom without sacrificing growth. Peace. Oh yeah, check out my view. Sao Paulo.